when you're in pain, soothing as a springtime rain, to have a friend right in your corner, your heart will feel a little warmer. Tender loving care, tender loving care, each warm and friendly touch lets someone know you care so much. Tender loving care, tender loving care.
Good evening, I'm Dr. Greenbrier Almond. Thank you for joining us on our program, Tender Loving Care. One of the real exciting parts of my life over this past several years has been to join with other artists at Artistry on Main here in Buchanan. And today I have one of the artists and a very special person to our family now because of her creation for us. And I'd like to welcome Sam Adams. Sam, thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
You have made quite a name for yourself as a stained glass artist. And you've been teaching stained glass art at the Artistry on Main.
Correct.
So welcome to Buchanan, and I'm glad you're part of our community.
Well, thank you. I certainly do appreciate being here. Love Buchanan and all the people that I've met, and feel very comfortable.
Well, good.
Yeah.
You, when you came to Buchanan, you've bought some land out at Tolmansville. Is that right?
We did. We did. Yep. We bought a little farm at the end of a holler, and nice and quiet.
Well, very good.
Yeah.
And that's it helps you with your creative juices to have the quiet, and then the
Most of the time.
yeah.
Sometimes I have to get back, in among people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know how that goes.
Right,
but, yeah,
right.
But I do love it.
That's good. And you've made quite a splash with the Artistry on Main. Your display is up front, and it's beautiful.
Thank you.
You call it, what was it, shanty glass or something like
Shanty
that?
art.
Shanty art.
It's
okay.
sort of a cover name for everything that I do, because I do like to get my hands into a little bit of everything, not just limit myself to one medium. So I tend to be a little bit on, like things a little more, I don't know, humble sounds, I guess that's a good word.
Okay.
Yeah, not,
Well, you can.
shanty is just,
Sounds like common, local.
yeah.
And folks will see various things there. I mean, you could have, at this time of the year, people might be looking for decorations for their home. And you would have things like that made out of stained glass.
I do. I have some things that I've made recently. They're jars, sort of pyramidal jars with dragonflies that I've made myself on the top. And you can put jewelry in them, or penny jars or whatever. And they're all different sizes and colors. And I originally started those wanting to display the beautiful glass itself, just the beauty of the glass. And I guess it works.
Well, yeah, it does. It does. We've been attracted to it.
Oh, good.
We should just say, for the purpose of folks who are watching this, that Artistry on Main is there in the old Home Hardware building, one part of that, and it's a wonderful gallery, 38 different artists, and you can come in every day of the year except Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Right.
And we as artists take our turn to run the shop.
Correct.
And you also teach classes there.
I do. Right now I'm teaching a beginning class every Wednesday night. They run for 6 weeks. This is, I think, the third session that I've done. And anybody that's interested in the future, I'll be starting up again probably the end of March, the 1st of April.
Okay, and
So-
people, the custom there is to just come in, sign up,
You come in and sign
and
up.
you'll be notified when the class is set
And
to
we
go.
have a lot of fun. Everybody seems to end up being friends and just having a really good time and learning a new
Yeah.
art form.
Well, we're going to look at some art that you've created for our home here in Buchanan, and we're in our home today, so that's going to be easy to look at. Stained glass, we would think. I mean, I've always thought of something like one of our churches may have a stained glass window, and it would be a way to highlight a gospel story, something of that nature. What's the technique, or what's involved in making something, a creation, out of stained glass?
Oh, it's
Pretty involved, huh?
It's very involved. There's a lot to it. You ask any of the beginning students I have, and they're all overwhelmed at first. They don't realize all the steps involved to the final project. But the main difference between the cathedrals and the churches that you're talking about and the glass that we do now, those windows in the churches used much bigger pieces of glass, and they were put together with lead channeling that held the glass together.
Okay.
What I'm teaching and what I do is a process that Louis Comfort Tiffany actually invented. He figured out how to cut much smaller pieces, more intricately shaped, and how to use copper foil around the edges of each piece of glass. You put all the glass pieces together with the copper around each one. The solder would stick to the copper, and that's what would hold everything together. So you end up with a much more graphic piece of work than just the bigger pieces that you see in churches.
We'll look at, in our home here, we'll look at your creation, and then we'll look at a Tiffany lamp and several other stained glass, so that you can explain more about your role as an artist. And thank you for coming on the program.
Well, thank you very much.
Good. Well, we'll go
Appreciate it.
to a window here and take a break. Sam, we've moved over to your creation now, and you've described a little bit about how you do the glass. I see that there are a number of smaller pieces of glass, but I'll let you describe this for a little bit, and maybe what you were considering as an artist, even for our home. I mean, why does it look this way, and what were you picking up within our house?
Okay. When I first came in your home, the very first thing I noticed was the beautiful gingerbread here that you probably can't see.
Woodwork. Maybe we can look at that briefly too.
Right. And I thought that needed to be incorporated. And then you have another window, well, two windows in the room over here that they have a lot of little glass nuggets. And a lot of linear lines in them that I sort of kept in my mind. But what really was the clincher, in your room over here, you have a lamp, and it had sort of a free-form ginkgo type of a leaf in it. I'm not really sure that's what it was, but that's what it reminded me of. So I took all of these elements and just tried to come up with a plan to incorporate everything together. So this is why...
And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I thank you.
Yeah.
I actually am very happy with it. The ginkgo leaves.
Yeah, here's the ginkgo leaves.
Here.
And folks who would know our yard, we're just across from Wendy's and right downtown, 48 South Canoa Street, will begin to see that we had planted 2 ginkgo trees out front in the side yard, actually. And so this leaf pattern will become even more evident as the years go by.
Right. And Araceli, your wife, said the colors, she had some input into these colors to put the background more of a green behind the leaves, and also to have the leaves start out green and then come down to the yellow that ginkgos are in the fall. And I think it really adds a lot of dimension and
Right.
interest
We
to
have
the glass.
in a way because when we moved here, we wanted to have a garden, and so we love green. And,
Same
and,
here.
and so the green has come out in this creation,
Yep.
and very much so, and we appreciate that too.
These sort of spiderwebby looking designs here and here. This comes from the gingerbread, which is over here behind us. I guess that's a pretty traditional Victorian design, this gingerbread with the little knobs in them.
Right, I've not picked up on that before, but now when you pointed it out, then I go other places and I begin
And
to
you
see that. Yes.
Yeah, you see it on a lot of porches that it probably has a name, but I don't know what it
Right.
is. These are Tudor roses, and I picked that up from the windows in here. There's Tudor roses in each of those windows. And
And your color is vibrant. I mean, it's a very nice.
well, I was very lucky. Can I mention a particular glass factory?
Sure. This is we're local and educational,
well,
so please.
I do get all of my glass from the Yuccogainy Glass Factory up in Connellsville, Pennsylvania, and they are the ones who came closest to perfecting Tiffany's glass. I mean, he was a phenomenal, mystical glass master. Most people don't realize that, but.
And what excited us, and we're going to look at a Tiffany lamp that came with our home. So you have carried through yet
The
another
whole
way
thing.
this, and that's what artists do, right? I mean, what a tremendous artist you are
Well,
to do this.
thank you.
Yeah,
But
and I should just say as a plug, if you should go up on Artistry on Main, look at the creations there, Sam, and of course she's the only glass artist right now, but there are a number of artists doing jewelry and doing paintings and cloth and also many wonderful things. But that's what artists do. They bring everything together in a new creation, and you've done it well.
well, thank you.
This is your linear. This is picked up in the woodwork also.
I wanted to point that out. This came. I sort of tried to incorporate it reminds me of a musical stand with the lines, and I'm sure that has a name that I don't know what it is.
Right, like the
but
treble clef or something like that.
right,
or clef
so that-
maybe. Yeah.
I tried to incorporate that, and just
Right.
an overall Victorian, high Victorian feel, which
Right.
is what this house is all about. So.
And this is also very particular because my wife is very musical,
Oh, I
and
didn't know that.
Filipinos love to sing and dance, and so that all fits into
Wonderful.
what makes a very happy home.
Great. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
Good.
And then you've done a little A at the top. Who knows what will happen to this home, and that's anyone who has a home. We know that we're stewards for it for a while, right? And then
right.
it's for someone else
That's
someday.
exactly right.
But anyway, the A comes as a reminder that the Almonds lived here at one time.
That's right.
Yeah. Now let me ask you the technique. You said this doesn't look like it's blocking anything, but this is very strong. I mean, I just want to say that because it's a big window, and the legend was, or the story was, that the Youngs had a dog, and the dog jumped through a previous window. But this is a pretty strong window, isn't it?
It is. This actually has a reinforcing bar that runs all the way up here, and it continues all the way up on both sides.
So like a triangle.
This.
Okay.
Right, and that's a 3/8 copper. It would be sitting this way so that the window can't bend
Okay.
this way, plus, being inserted in here. No, it's definitely.
So you're not only an artist, but you're an engineer.
Well, when you're dealing with something this big, you want
Yeah.
to make sure that
Right.
it's between the table that it's made on and where it's going to go. It's going to stay together.
Right.
You figure it's riding in the back of a truck. So,
Wow.
yeah, the last thing I want is to see broken
Sure.
pieces.
Sure.
when
And I
get
should
here.
say, Sam showed us a picture before she started this of a creation you had done in New Hampshire. And one of the things I learned from Hawthorne was the old man on the mountain in New Hampshire. And you showed us a window through that
Oh.
window, you could see that old man on the mountain.
Right.
He's fallen off the mountain.
He's-
His face has fallen off the mountain now, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
you had done a big window
That was huge.
for that particular house.
Yeah. It was about 6 feet this way, and it was a half circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
And-
looked down through Franconia Notch. Which
Wow. Is that
where
the
he
name
was.
of it? So that
Yeah.
would be. So I knew that you could carry off the engineering part.
Well, I love the challenge also.
Yeah.
I like to. My father was very mechanical, and so I guess I kind of have that going on also. So
This is wonderful. Well, we're going to look at other parts of our house, but also spend time later, and this will be a 2-series program. So stay tuned for future programs with Sam. We'll talk about her roots as an artist, and I'm already learning your father's an engineer, so you have quite a story to tell too.
probably not enough time.
Well, we'll try to make as much as we
Okay.
can. Let me also say, in case you had a sign up there, Artistry on Main. You said, "I do consignments," and so that made me bold to say,
Oh.
"Well, come and look at this possibility," and that's true, right? You will.
I will.
Come to someone's house and say,
Yep.
"Maybe I can have a creation that
Absolutely.
will endear the house not only
Yep.
to Buchanan, but to a family. It's an heirloom. It's a real something to carry down through the ages.
Hopefully, it won't go away for a long time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to look at different parts of the house, so stay tuned. And thank you, Sam, for this creation.
Oh, you're very welcome. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Great.
Me and my cats. They helped me.
They helped you. Okay. Well, great. Makes me feel good because we're cat lovers too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll stay tuned here, and we'll change to another location in the house. Sam, you've been gracious enough to walk around the house and show us what you saw when you were making your wonderful creation at the front door. And we're in the dining room now. This is a Tiffany lamp that hangs over the dining room table. What do you see as an artist in here?
Well, what I see that I know is definitely Tiffany's signature. Number one, his solder was, I always said, it was an art form unto itself. So much solder in stained glass that you see today, I call it a Band-Aid, just holding the pieces together.
Okay.
But as you can see here, I don't know if you can see it or not.
In the grapes,
In the grapes, the texture between each grape, the thickness here,
right? It
the
looks so
thickness
real.
here.
It's a
Exactly. That's very significant of Tiffany. The other thing that's very significant of Tiffany that I see here is the texture in the glass itself. These leaves, you
Okay.
can see the veins in the leaves.
Isn't that exquisite?
It is.
Only an artist would say, well, it's important not just to have a piece of green glass, but I'm now going to make the veins.
Exactly.
Wow.
He developed this form himself, and he just went with it. And this is a good example of a typical Tiffany's work. So.
Right. Well, because of this, we then, and you're coming into Buchanan and Artistry on Main, then we were attracted because we said, we can enhance the beauty of our own home, and certainly you've done that by following the tradition of Tiffany.
Well, that he was my muse.
Okay.
When I went to the Morse Museum in Orlando, that was the beginning. So I feel honored to
Yeah.
be able to follow up.
Yeah.
From
Now
this.
the yellow, we picked up the yellow, and it was the ginkgo leaf as it turns into a fall leaf. So you've enhanced the color also in our home.
Well, wonderful.
Yeah.
And this is a very typical Tiffany color, this mottled yellow look. It has a name, I think it's called stipple glass. But I
Okay.
could be wrong there. But
Okay, well, I appreciate you pointing out this. And we're going to look at a couple other stained glasses that you also took inspiration from and incorporated into your wonderful creation at the front door. So we'll go on to another stained glass window. Well, thank you for coming to our home, Sam, and walking around with us so we can point out other stained glass that became part of the inspiration for you.
Right.
And when we moved into our home, we realized that it was like a museum.
That it is.
So my wife picked out this antique glass chandelier in our TV room. And when you saw it, you saw some inspiration in it for the front door window. Tell us what you see in here.
Well, this was the prime inspiration, this
Okay.
lamp here for the window. And I interpreted these green leaves immediately as ginkgo leaves.
Okay, right.
And I just went with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love
And you were
ginkgo
right. I mean, I
trees
didn't
and-
see that before. Even though I was with my wife, we were in Morgantown. We picked this out in a shop. I didn't realize we were picking up ginkgo leaves.
Well,
There they are.
I think that it was something unique, and
Mm-hmm.
they're beautiful, and the tree is beautiful.
Yes, and it's an ancient tree,
and
too.
It's
I mean,
an
it's
ancient
I
tree.
think the
Chinese.
Chinese and the Emperor's Garden.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I sort of wanted to go with that if it was acceptable with
Right,
you guys.
Right. And then these gold
the
balls.
little gold nuggets.
Uh-huh.
They actually tied in with everything else that.
Other stained glass windows.
Right,
Yeah.
it all tied in together, so
Right.
I had to incorporate
Now this is
that.
not a Tiffany, but the collars match the Tiffany lamp in the
Yeah.
dining room, don't they?
The reds, the little reds here, I did want to throw some red into the window along
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
with the green and the yellow, and I think we kind of just stayed with
Right.
that.
And there's a Victorian rose that you
The Tudor rose.
Tudor rose that you pick out in our door. This is probably just a bulb of some kind, not necessarily a rose here.
Well, the reds are there. The
Yes.
Tudor rose is actually in your other windows over
Okay,
there,
and we'll
but
look at
the
those.
same red is
Okay.
there.
Well, thank you again for being an inspired artist. And you can see the creative juices turning in Sam's head as she even describes this. So thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
We'll look at another window.
Okay.
Sam, thank you for walking around the house, and we're going to continue looking at windows here. And we have here a wonderful stained glass window that came with the home. The architect that built this house for the Stewart family in 1907 also at the same time was building the First United Methodist Church, which is on Florida Street here in Buchanan. And he did a lot of stained glass windows there in many Sunday school rooms, as well as the big Bible verse windows, the prodigal son, Jesus sitting, inviting the children to come and sit with him and saying, "Such is the kingdom of heaven." So this is a very special window to our house as it goes back to the historic roots. When you saw this, what were you seeing that you wanted to incorporate into the front door window that you did, your creation?
Well, I was keeping the whole Victorian theme in mind,
Okay.
and the Tudor roses, the 4 red roses in the middle,
Uh-huh.
I definitely wanted to pull
Right.
them
And you have two of
in-
those in your window.
in the top and the bottom.
Uh-huh.
And the yellow nuggets that start out larger and
Right.
get smaller as they
So
go up.
prominent in your window and here too.
And I knew they also were in your woodwork. So it all just sort of, it was pretty easy to
Yeah.
pull it all together.
Yeah, this is, and what I see, and I don't know if this is it, but we have a theme song. Our program is Tender Loving Care, and I see 2 figures, 2 personalities, 2 souls, maybe even angelic souls with harps, but they're hand in hand,
Wow.
and that's what I see from the beginning.
I love that.
And when every time you watch the program, this window or one similar to it is featured,
Oh,
and I always imagine tender loving care.
well, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Now,
love that.
my wife liked the green glass
She
around
did
the
say
edge, and then
that.
she said, let's go with more green. And you did that too.
I was lucky to be able to find that. The palette is limited to what you can get in the glass.
Okay.
And I was very lucky that
Right.
green was available.
And you went back. We can mention that you went back to the same plant that supplies glass that
they actually
Tiffany
make
liked.
it right
Tiffany
there.
liked. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that, and also the linear aspect, I wanted to incorporate that in the window. So.
Right. And we're going to look at some woodwork, and you picked up, as an artist will do, a pattern in our woodwork that you put into your glass.
Right. I think it all tied together.
It does.
Pretty
It
well.
wonderfully does. So let's look at the lattice work now.
Okay. Great.
Sam, we're walking around the house, and as an artist, you have been inspired by different features of the home, including wood lattice work. What did you see in this lattice work that is also in the hallway and just going to be across from the front door that has the wonderful stained glass that you've created?
Well, what really caught my eye was this linear, I call it a spider web.
Okay.
Also up here, and then the knobs in the middle, which I know is really traditional old Victorian. You see it on a lot of porches. And I thought it was beautiful, and it just really sticks out. And
The Stewart family, Mr. Stewart was a lumberman, and of course this is the greatest hardwood forest in the world for oak, and so he had the finest material to work with.
Right, he sure did. So,
And
yeah.
so you saw the bulbs, and then the spider web, and now also we pick up a harp here, don't we? The same as in the other stained glass window.
Exactly. That same linear aspect here, which I suspect, I don't know what came first, your windows or this gingerbread, but
Yeah.
one of them carried the other tradition through.
Right.
And I tried to carry that through into the window with the linear on the top and on the bottom. Just trying to tie it all in.
Well, you did a great job, and
Thank you.
I appreciate the artist when I'm with an artist, and I'm not an artist myself in this way, but to see the world through an artist's eye is very special.
Well,
And you did a great creation
thank you.
for us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the challenge, and it was very interesting, and I
Good.
enjoyed it. Like
We're
I
going to
said.
talk more with you
Okay.
as a guest, so we'll know more about how you work, how you think, and of course, other people. And I want to say this up front: your exhibits are at the Artistry on Main. You do consignment. Other people may want to talk to you about projects that they have in mind, and you teach classes.
Correct.
And someone they might say, oh, I'm not a stained glass artist, but they can learn to be one.
I think there's a little bit of artist in all of us.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
just a matter of pulling it out.
When we're children, we probably have it, and then we just, someone says, grow up or something, and we stop doing it. Huh?
Exactly. Draw
Okay.
it this way, not that way.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, let's sit down and talk in the
Okay.
final minutes of this
Sure.
program, and very grateful for Rodney for walking around with us and showing how you were inspired by different features of the home. Sam, thank you for going around our home and showing the features that you incorporated into your magnificent front door. It's really a work of art.
I'm beginning to feel that way.
And we want to invite you back to a future program
Great.
so that you can actually talk about some of your roots, how you got into art like this, and if you find it a happy state to be in, maybe you can encourage some young people who might
Sure.
want to be artists, so they can feel inspired and follow their dreams.
I'd love to do that.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
that sounds great.
And we'll just say another time, because we're trying to help not only highlight what you did for us, but also the fact that Artistry on Main is a new creation. It came out last March 2014. Before this, there was an art shop up on Main Street, but we have joined together 38 different artists, and we work together, and we're having success, and you're a part of the success.
Well,
So thank you for that too.
Well, thank everybody. It's a co-op.
It's a co-op.
We all
We're
work
working
together.
hard, aren't we?
Right.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
And so I would say stay tuned for future programs with Sam Adams. And if you find this interesting, go up to Artistry on Main every day of the year except Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's open. And you can see other things that she has made. You can see what other artists have made. And we'll come back and talk about art and how it's created and how it feels to be an artist. And Sam is not only a fine artist, but she's a good teacher. So we appreciate her being on. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very
Okay,
much.
very
This
good.
has been really fun.
Good. We'll see you next week on Tender Loving Care.
Stories of a West Virginia Doctor, written by Dr. Harold D. Allman. A collection of 55 short stories about his experience as a small-town doctor in central West Virginia. And Tender Loving Care. Stories from a West Virginia Doctor, Volume 2, written by Dr. Greenbrier Allman, using videotapes to write 70 additional stories of his father's very colorful life as a small-town doctor. They can be found for purchase at Amazon.com and most local bookstores. Tune into Channel 3 Buckhannon for Tender Loving Care with Dr. Greenbrier Allman, where he talks about the connection between Christianity and medicine.